Grameen Bank. It all started about 30 years ago in Bangladesh. I was teaching the theories of economics at the university. From the window of the classroom, I could see a village of poor people suffering from hunger. I felt terrible. Whatever I was teaching had no meaning for those people, so I tried to find out more about them and their lives.
Question: why did the writer feel terrible? Answer: because whatever he was teaching had no meaning for the poor people.
One particular incident took me in a new direction. I met a woman who was making bamboo stools. I found out that she made only 2 US pennies a day. I couldn't believe that anybody could make such beautiful bamboo stools and yet make such a small amount of profit. She didn't even have the money to buy the bamboo to make the stools, so she had to borrow money from a trader. But the trader forced her to sell the product to him alone at a price that he decided. The bamboo cost about 20 cents at that time.
Question: how much did the woman earn from making bamboo stools? Answer: she earned 2 US pennies a day.
I thought, people suffer for 20 cents and there is nothing anyone can do about it. Then I came up with an idea which let me make a list of people in need of that kind of money. I took a student of mine around the village for several days and I came up with a list of 42 such people. When I added up the total amount they needed, I got the biggest shock of my life. It was just $27. I felt ashamed of myself for being part of a society which could not provide $27 for 42 hard-working, skilled human beings. I prepared the money and gave it to my student. I said, give this money to those 42 people and tell them this is a loan, but they can pay me back whenever they can.
Question 1. What idea did the writer come up with? Answer: he made a list of people in need of a small amount of money. Question 2. Why was the writer shocked? Answer: because the amount of money needed to help the poor was so small.
I then went to see a bank manager and suggested that he should lend money to the poor. He said, "What? That's impossible. How could we lend money to those people?" I said, "At least give it a try. It is only a small amount of money." He said, "No, our rules don't permit it." That was the beginning. The bank manager warned me repeatedly that the poor people who receive the money will never pay it back. I said, "I will take that chance." And surprisingly, they paid me every penny back. I got very excited and went to the manager, but he said, "Oh, soon they will take more money and never pay you back." So I gave them more money, and they paid me back. This time he said, "Well, maybe you can do it in one village, but if you do it in 2 villages, it just won't work." And I hurriedly did it in another village, and it worked.
Question 1. What did the writer suggest to the bank manager? Answer: he suggested that the bank manager should lend money to the poor. Question 2. What did the bank manager warn the writer about? Answer: he warned the writer that the poor people who receive the money will never pay it back.
So it became a kind of struggle between me and the bank manager and his colleagues. They said that I could not do it in 5 villages. So I went out and lent money again in 5 villages. Again, everybody paid back the money. I showed the bank people my results, but they refused to accept my findings because they were trained to believe poor people were not reliable.
Question: why didn't the bank people accept the writer's findings? Answer: because they were trained to believe poor people were not reliable.
Finally, I thought, why am I trying to persuade them to believe me? I was totally certain that poor people could borrow money and pay it back. I decided to set up a separate bank. This was very exciting to me. I wrote a letter and went to the government to get permission to set up a bank. It took 2 years to get the permission, and on October 2nd, 1983, a formal and independent bank called Grameen Bank, Bank of the Villages, came into being.
Question: What was the writer's final decision? Answer: It was to set up a separate bank.